Namaste. Namaste and welcome to this Friday evening yoga session. And tonight we are going to do a yoga practice dedicated to everyone who's sat at a desk all day. So we're going to stretch out our shoulders and mobilize wrists and fingers and all sorts of bits. We're going to promote strength in the back of the body so that we can open up those spaces in the front of the body that get closed down. And towards the end of the class, we're going to do a couple of yin-ish postures. The first will be the yin bridge, and then we're going to do a yin fish. So yin poses are just poses that we hold a bit more support for slightly longer. Excuse me, we've got a late arrival. Okay, so for this class, you may need any one of these accoutrements. If you've got a bolster, grab your bolster. 2 blocks, if you've got 2 blocks, grab those, or something similar, maybe a couple of tin cans, and a blanket will be quite useful. Some for under the knees, some for under the hands, some for under the body. And if you don't have a bolster, don't worry, just a rolled blanket will be sufficient. So without further ado, we're going to start standing up. Jude, who's just arrived, please can you make sure you're muted? And we will get started just by centering ourselves. So come into a comfortable standing position, resting your arms down by your side. Gather your energy into your center and see if you can lift up tall, closing your eyes or gazing gently downward. And just spend a moment bringing yourself physically and mentally onto the mat. So leaving behind the rest of your day. Just letting go of any emotional conflict or tensions from your day. Just for this class. Letting go of thoughts of planning or reminiscing. Bringing your awareness to this moment, this body, this breath. Take your awareness around your body, feel how it's feeling right now. Become aware of places that feel perhaps a little tense. Those tend to be the most vocal places. They let you know that they're there. Become aware also of the quieter places where the body feels at ease, feels more spacious. There's no right or wrong way to feel when you step on the mat. You're simply observing how you are right now. And then observing your breath. The breath that you're breathing right now. And when you're ready, you can gently deepen that breath, breathing in a little fuller into the rib cage, the collarbones, the shoulder blades. As you breathe out, firming a little across the navel to draw that gently in and ease a little bit more air out of the lungs. Breathing into the sides of the body, the chest, the back. Breathing more fully out, gently engaging across the abdomen. Breathing deeply in. Breathing deeply out. A couple more of these deeper breaths, gradually building that supply of prana in the body, energy of life. And then when you're ready, you can gently draw your chin towards your chest, feeling first that lengthening that happens down the back of the neck between the shoulder blades. And when you're ready, you can roll the right ear to the right shoulder, the chin to the chest, and the left ear to the left shoulder. Rolling from side to side. If this movement doesn't suit you, but you know a different one that does, then feel free to do the movement that suits your neck best. As you roll, trying to slow that movement down, make it very precise, very full of your awareness. Noticing the connection between the movement of the head, the structures of the neck into the chest, the top of the shoulders, the collarbones, and the upper back. If you want to, you can make circular movements. You can lift the chin. And if you're circling in one way, one direction, remember to go the opposite way as well, just a couple of times. Coming back to center, lifting the head, and just beginning to roll the shoulder blades. And as you do, notice what happens in the front of the body as you open the shoulders. Notice if you can begin to feel tension easing, or perhaps you notice it more because you're moving. That happens too. Notice if you can do this and keep your jaw nice and relaxed, your neck free, your head mobile. Let's move the opposite way as well. Rolling the shoulders in the opposite direction. Try to feel the shoulder blades gliding across the back. They separate apart and then draw back together again. And then just relaxing the arms a little. We're going to step the feet a lot wider and just allow the legs to be quite still. We're going to do an alternative to Kati Chakrasana today. So normally we do Kati Chakrasana, we're going to end up there. But today we're going to start with the arms wide and cactus arms. So that we have our elbows quite lifted. They don't have to be absolutely at shoulder height, but in that general direction, elbows bent. And we're just gently going to start with a small twist, just a small twist from side to side. Here, we want the lower body to be quite passive to begin with, because we're wakening up this movement. So we're starting small. Maybe you can feel it around your waist, around the bottom of the rib cage, maybe in the space between the shoulder blades. And then as you want to do more, we don't want to create too much of a twist across the pelvis. So once you begin to twist a little bit, you can pivot on your toes. Okay? So finding your way to pivoting on the toes a little. And you can actually press away from the foot that you move away from. Much more expansive movement, but still very open in the chest. And then we're going to begin to reach with the opposite hand in the direction that we're turning. You can reach the fingertips away from the toe tips that you're moving away from, or you can press through the palm of the hand if that feels more strong for you. Perhaps that feels more powerful. It's reminiscent of some martial arts. If your inner ninja needs to be let out. And then we can add a little bounce to the knees, still with our reaching, but a little soft bounce in the center. And of course, if you don't want to add the bounce, you don't have to. And then we are going to just allow our arms to flop down and wrap the body. So we're going to finish in our Kati Chakrasana proper, softening the effort across the shoulders, relaxing the arms and elbows. And then we're going to let the bounce go and simply pivot on our feet. And bring your feet to steadiness and sway your body back to stillness under its own steam. Great stuff. So now we've sort of woken up the sides of the body a little bit. Let's waking up the arms a little bit more. So soft elbows and circling your left arm. If you've started with your right, it's okay. Making those circles progressively bigger if that feels good to you. So you don't have to get anywhere in particular, but if you want to express a little bit more with your movement, you can. And we're going to go in both directions, so making sure to go the opposite way as well, and see if your torso wants to move with you. We've been doing an awful lot of this term, and there's a reason for it. So when we're tense or anxious or worried, we hold that often in the front of the body. And so all of these movements are about massaging the structures under the pectoral muscles, releasing tension from the fascia, letting go of stuff. We'll finish there on this side, and then do the opposite side. Soft in the elbow. You can start with a relatively small circle if you'd like to, and then build into these more expressive, expansive movements if you want to. Keep a little softness in your knees if you'd like. And going the opposite way as well. Finding that perhaps you really enjoy, I really enjoy letting the rest of my body move with this. Maybe you do too, maybe you don't. It's okay. But if you want to, if you're drawn in that direction, go for it. And then releasing the arms down to the sides. Very good. Okay, so we've got our feet relatively far apart, so they're a little bit wider. My feet are a little bit wider than my shoulders, and that's how I'm going to start this next practice. We're going to do a little bit of side bending here. So breathing in as you take the arms apart and then reach the palms together. They don't have to be over your head, and the arms don't have to be straight. So if you're strong in the shoulders, you might find this easier with the hands in front of the body instead. We're going to breathe in as we lift the shoulders up and breathe out as we draw the shoulders down. Breathing in, lifting the shoulders up. Breathing out, draw the shoulders down. Let's do one more. Breathing in and up. Breathing out and down. And here, just turning the head gently from side to side, or if you want to, wiggling your bottom jaw from side to side. Swallow to make sure your jaw is nice and relaxed. And then take hold of your left wrist with your right hand, and we're going to reach up and over to the right side. And then from here, we're going to fold ourselves slightly forward and circle all the way down to drape towards the floor. So we're not aiming to touch the floor, it's a drape. It's like someone's pulled me from the upper waist and pulling me back towards the ceiling. And then here, I'm just going to roll back up, a little softness in the knees to roll back to center. Feeling nice after that. And then same thing on the other side, breathing in, reaching the arms up. We'll bring the palms together as we exhale. And then breathing in, shoulders up. Breathing out, shoulders down. Just one on this side. Take hold of the right wrist with the left hand. Reach over to the left side. And then from here, just allow yourself to fold forward. Imagine someone's pulling you from your upper waist. You end up draping. A little softness in the knees. Tuck the tailbone and roll back up. Let's do one more of these to each side. Breathing in, reaching the arms up. Breathing out, shoulders down. One time up and down. Breathing in, shoulders up. Breathing out, shoulders down. Catch hold of the left wrist with the right hand. Easing over to the right side. And from there, just like you're drawing a semicircle, no, a half circle, a quarter circle, to drape. And from your drape, rolling back to standing. Last time on the left side, breathing in, reaching up. Breathing out, shoulders down. Breathing in, shoulders up. Breathing out, shoulders down. Hold onto your right wrist with your left hand, easing over. Don't worry about your breath in this part. And then from here, just drawing a circle, imagining someone's pulling you with your upper waist, coming to center, drape, 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 and then roll back to standing. Very nice. Okay, give yourself a little bit of a wiggle. And we're going to bring our feet together or towards each other, so they don't have to be together. So when you do a side bend with your feet apart, your pelvis is really quite stable. So if you have niggles in your hips, and certainly anyone who was in my chair yoga class, I would encourage to do the side bending like this. But if you don't have a problem with your hips, if you move your feet together and then we side bend, you access a stretch or a length across the hips that you can't do with your feet apart. So take note of that as we work this time. So here, breathing in, reaching the arms up. Breathing out, shoulders down. One up and down. Breathing in, lift the shoulders as high as you can. Breathing out, shoulders back down again. Catch hold of the left wrist with the right hand. Leaning over to the right side. See if you can make your hips go to the left a little. We're not going to fold forward here. We're going to come back up and we're going to go back over to the right again. And then back to center. And then this time we're going to go over to the right, but not as far. And then fold to the center, draping, and roll back to center. Apologies, I should have said that before. Okay, other side, breathing in, reaching the palms up, breathing out, shoulders down, breathing in, lengthening shoulders up, breathing out, drawing shoulders down. Catch hold of the right wrist with the left hand, leaning over to the left, hips to the right if you can, and then back to center, and then over to the left, hips to the right, and back to center. And this time, not quite so far to the left. And from there, drawing yourself down to the center for your drape and rolling back to standing. Very good. Rolling the shoulders if you need to. And we're going to do the next part of our practice at the head of our mat. So if you want to keep a blanket for under your knees, because we will come into a lunge, then you can. But we're going to, I can do this facing on, but it's probably easier to see from sideways. So with your feet a comfortable distance apart, so whatever that is for you, we're going to play with our Utkatasana, chair pose. And so if you're new to chair pose, we're going to practice this once all together. So hands onto the hips, rolling the shoulder blades down the back to open the chest, feel that sort of sense of lift, and then just bending your knees. So nothing else has changed. The body is still lifted. It's only the knees that have bent. We're going to look down and make sure that the knees are over the feet. So they haven't fallen towards each other. They haven't fallen apart. And you can probably see your big toes unless they're pointing in a strange direction. And then we're going to come back to standing. So for Utkatasana, chair pose proper, we breathe in, take the arms up, and breathe out, bend the knees. And we still have that sense of lift. And then from here, we're going to fold a little deeper down. So we're lengthening the tailbone behind us and bringing the torso down to go parallel with the floor. And then from here, we're going to fold all the way down over our legs. The knees are still very bent. And then we're going to roll all the way up. So knees are still bent, draping as we roll all the way up to standing. And we're just going to finish by opening the palms forward to open the chest. So we're going to do a couple of these and then we're going to add something to it. Okay? So if you're still building your familiarity with chair pose, it's no problem at all. So let's take the arms up over the head and then bend the knees and then lengthen the tailbone as we bend the knees a little bit deeper. And when we come into our deep chair, then we're going to drape ourselves over our thighs and drape the hands and the head towards the floor. Then here, we're going to gently roll through the back, pressing through the legs to come up to standing, and we're going to open the arms out to the side. Let's do one more. Taking the arms up, you can breathe in as you take the arms up, breathing out as you bend your knees. Breathing in as you lengthen your tailbone, bend the knees a little bit deeper. Breathe out as you drape. Take a deep breath in at the bottom of the movement, and then breathe out as you roll all the way up and turn the palms forwards. Take a moment. Okay, so we're going to add on now, and we'll do each of the motions that we do several times, so don't worry about it. So this time, we're going to do the same thing at the beginning. So breathing in, reaching the arms up. Breathing out, bending the knees. Breathing in as we lengthen. And breathing out as we fold. Now here, we're going to reach the arms behind the body. And if you can, interlace your fingers a little bit. You don't have to. If you want to, you can lengthen your legs a little bit. Again, you don't have to. And we'll take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then we're going to relax the arms down, and we're going to spend some time in our forward bend. So here, if touching the floor in your forward bend is challenging, then use your blocks to prop yourself up a little bit higher. So we're going to just gently paddle through the backs of the legs a little bit, lengthening one leg and then the other. And at the same time, you can sway your upper body if you'd like to. So if you want to, you can hold elbow to elbow and give a little bit of a sway. You don't need to sway if you don't want to. It's a great way to get rid of tension from the low back. And if you want to, you can take that into your neck by turning the head gently from side to side or nodding the head backwards and forwards. And then when you're ready, bending the knees deeply, rolling up through the spine. And this time we're going to reach the arms up over the head in a big circle to finish down by the sides. Excellent stuff. Okay, so breathing in, taking the arms up. Breathing out, bending the knees. Breathing in, lengthening the tailbone behind you. And breathing out as you drape forward, then let the arms come all the way around behind the body and interlace the fingers or hold elbow to elbow or wrist to wrist. If you can lengthen your legs a little bit. If you want to, you can gently turn your head from side to side. This posture is called Utkatasana, double angle pose. And then we're going to release the hands to come towards the floor, bend the knees very deeply, and then roll up, pressing through the legs to come up to standing, reaching the arms over the head in a nice big circle to leave the arms down by the sides. Excellent stuff. Okay, so we're going to do one more of these and then add something on from our forward bend. So breathing in, reaching the arms up. Breathing out, bending your knees. Breathing in as you lengthen and fold all the way down. Reach the arms behind you, interlace the fingers, roll the shoulder blades towards each other a little bit. See if the weight of the arms will carry the arms over a little bit. And if you want to, you can straighten your legs. You don't have to. And then gently releasing the arms back to the floor. We're going to step the right foot back behind us and bring ourselves into a little lunge. So here, if you need something underneath your back knee for a little bit of support, then you can. And if you want something under your hands for a little bit of height, then you can. So we're going to press the feet away from each other and roll up to our standing low lunge. Okay? And here, if you want to, you can just rest your hand on your front thigh. We're going to just press backwards and forwards. But if you'd like to, you can just do this with the arms open. Requires a little bit more balance. Gently backwards and forwards. We're not trying to get anywhere in particular. We're just beginning to mobilize these joints that perhaps have been a little bit stuck today. And then we're going to make the motion with our arms as well. So if you can, allow the whole of the spine to move as you sway in and out of the lunge and make big circles, remembering to open up underneath the throat as well. Very good. And then the next time you take your arms up and you're in your lunge, just spend a moment there, firm in the buttocks, firm in the belly, pressing the feet away from each other for a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Then we're going to float the hands back to either side of the front foot, lift the back knee and step the foot to the front, so both feet underneath the body again. Drape yourself over your forward bend. Bend your knees deeply and roll up to standing. And reach the arms all the way up and over the head and down to the sides. Very good. Let's do the same thing for the left side. Breathing in as we reach the arms up. Breathing out as we bend our knees. Breathe in, lengthen into your chair pose. And breathe out as you fold over the legs and reach the arms behind you to interlace the fingers. Relax the back of the neck. Relax the throat. And then release the arms and step your left foot back. So you come into your lunge posture. And then here, we're going to press the feet away from each other to stand tall into our lunge. And just gently in and out. So we're not going full yet, we're just building into it. We're building into it. And it doesn't matter what your shape looks like, it's about how it feels. So does it feel like you're beginning to release some tension, perhaps from the front of the left side of the pelvis or the left quadricep? And when you're ready, you can begin to make more expressive gestures with your arms. And perhaps you can find a way that this flows through your spine. So it requires a little bit of balance, a little bit of effort, and making sure to find movement even in the front of the throat. Next time your arms are over your head, coming into your lunge for just a gentle breath in, press your feet apart, and breath out. And then folding back over your legs. Going to step your back foot forwards. Standing in your forward bend here, we're just going to gently turn the head from side to side. And nod backwards and forwards. Nice. And then bending the knees deeply, we're going to roll up. Reach the arms up and open them down to the sides. Come back to standing. Just take a moment. Excellent stuff, guys. Okay, so bear with me because I'm just looking at my plan. Aha, aha, she says. Okay, so we're going to add something on now. Again, something on again. So we start at the front of the mat just as we've done. But this time, we're going to breathe in, take the arms up, and then breathe out. Just let the head and the chest open towards the ceiling. And then breathe in here and breathe out as we bend the knees and then fold all the way down into our double angle pose, reaching the hands behind us, interlacing the fingers. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Release the hands to the floor, step the right foot back. And this time we're going to keep our hands on the floor and just sway backwards and forwards to lengthen out underneath the hamstring, underneath the left leg. So a little bit backwards and forwards. If you want to, as your hips come backwards, you can gently shift your hips from side to side, which gets into the places that sometimes other things don't reach. Very good. And then we're going to, again, press ourselves high. Now this time, if you can, take your back knee off the floor, press the feet away from each other, and just reaching the arms up and back if you can. So firm in the buttocks, firm in the belly, firm in the feet for a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. And then releasing the back knee down, bring the hands down. We're going to step into downward facing dog. So taking the left foot back, we're coming to downward facing dog. And we're nice and soft here because it's the end of the day. So we're soft, we're paddling through the backs of the legs, maybe a little shift, definitely a turning of the head from side to side to release any tension there. And then just stepping your feet a little bit further behind you, dropping your knees to the mat. We're going to do a waving vinyasa. So we're going to press off the feet, rounding through the spine, drawing the chest forward to open the chest, and keeping the elbows nice and soft. Here we can gently sway the chest from one side to the other if that feels good to you. And then pressing back up to hands and knees and taking the hips back to the heels. We'll do one more like that. So pressing, rounding through the back, pressing off the toes, bringing the chest forward, the knees stay down. We open the chest, we open the chin. And if you want to do a little sway from side to side, you don't have to. And when you're ready, pressing back all the way into this sort of extended baby dog pose. And then from here, we're going to leave the hands where they are and simply uncurl the legs into downward facing dog. Nice. Okay. And then walk your feet all the way back to your hands. Spend a moment in your forward bend, deep breath in, slow breath out. Soft knees and roll all the way up, reaching the arms over the head. Nice big circle to finish with the arms down by the sides. Same thing on the left. So this time we're breathing in, taking the arms up, and then we're breathing out as we open the chest and the front of the throat towards the ceiling. And then from here, we're going to fold all the way down into our chair pose, forward bend, and reach the arms behind us, interlace the fingers. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Release the hands to the floor and step the left foot back. And just beginning by swaying backwards and forwards. Now, I prefer the feeling of when I lift my toes, that feels like it gets into the places at the back of my leg better than if I leave my toes towards the mat. But a combination of both is probably a good plan. Next time you take your hips back, if you want to, you can wiggle your hips a little bit from side to side, which gets into the places that other stretches can't go. Oh yeah. And then come back into your lunge. Now we're going to just lift the back knee off the mat, press into both feet and come up to a high lunge that's just floating off the floor, opening the chest, firm in the buttocks, firm in the belly, pressing the feet away from each other. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And then hands down to the mat, stepping the right foot back to the left, come into downward facing dog. So for this downward dog, I want you to try a different hand hold. So turning your fingers out a little bit and making sure your hands are wider than your shoulders. And if you are strong in the shoulders, this can be a more open position, give you more room for your downward dog, for your up dog as well. So from here, dropping the knees to the mat, and we're going to press off the heels to roll forward into a waving vinyasa. So up dog, but with the fingers turned slightly out. Is that a bit easier? Turn the chest from side to side. And then pressing back to hands and knees and hips down to the heels. And then we're rolling forward again. Another waving vinyasa. Softish elbows, so they don't have to be really bent, but they do not need to be straight either. And then coming back to center, pressing up and all the way down into your extended dog pose. I'm going to square my hands because I prefer it for my down dog. And then all we're doing is uncurling the legs. So we're keeping the head quite low, the chest quite low, and seeing if that feels good. And if you need a little bit more of a wiggle, you can. Maybe you can feel the openness under the shoulders. Maybe turning the head from side to side or nodding can be a nice thing to do here as well. And from here, we're going to let the knees come down to the mat and find a child's pose of your choice. So it might be that you have your knees quite wide, and it might be that you have your knees closer together, and it doesn't matter. If you need something to rest your head on, hopefully you've got some support right close to you. So it could be your bolster, it could be a block, it could be one hand folded on top of the other. And let's just take a couple of deep breaths here. We're simply observing the effect of all of that work. And then we're going to just bring our knees a little bit closer together. So for those of you who prefer a wide-legged child's pose, you can do this with a wide-legged child's pose. Wide-legged, who knows? Wide-legged child's pose if you like. I'm going to leave my right arm extended and slide the back of my left arm underneath my right armpit and take the left even side of my head to the floor. And just take a few deep breaths here. Now, you can leave your right fingertips tented if that feels useful to you. If you get, so I get an extra sensation of space by reaching my right hand away from me. But after a few breaths, it's nice to relax that right elbow to the floor, right forearm to the floor, and just take a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, you can gently release. In the middle, we're going to take the forehead to some sort of support, so either the floor or a block, and then bring the palms of the hands together and bring the thumbs back towards the nape of the neck. So the hands are almost clasped over the top of the head. And if you want to, you can inch your elbows forward a little bit more, if that feels good on your rotator cuffs. Or similar. Maybe you feel it in a different space. And we'll take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Then relaxing the arms, we're going to lift ourselves slightly, tent the left fingertips and slide the back of the right hand to the left, taking the right side of the head to the floor. So if you want to, you can begin to walk the left fingertips away from you if that feels good. If that seems to get to a place that the more restful position doesn't. And then after a few breaths, just relaxing the left elbow to the floor, the left forearm to the floor for a couple more deep breaths. And then when you're ready, you can come back to center. And we're just going to come up from our knees for a moment, for those of you who don't enjoy being in child's pose for long periods of time, and stir the hips. So just making stirring circles with the hips, like a sideways cat. And in the opposite direction as well. When you're ready, you can bring your knees towards each other, lengthen your right foot back and rotate around the right toes. So the right leg is extended, just making ankle circles. And then we'll slide that knee in and we'll do the same thing on the other side. If you really want to be completely balanced, you can always rotate the ankle in both directions. I find my second rotation doesn't get into the places that my first rotation does. So my preferred direction is better for accessing space. And come back to the center with your leg. And then we're going to bring the hips back to the heels again. If you need something like a cushion underneath your hips, you can. And we're going to slightly off-center our hips. So we're going to shift the hips to the left as we reach the arms to the right. So hips go to the left, arms go to the right, and the forehead comes towards the floor, but it doesn't need to meet the floor. If you're desperate to put it on something, you can rest it on the back of your right hand or arm. And it might be that you are up away from the floor anyway, and that's okay. One more deep breath in, deep breath out. Then we're going to pad the hands back to the center the hips, and then offset them to the right side. Walk the hands all the way to the left to where's comfortable for you. If you want to support your forehead, you can. If it touches the floor, great. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. Then we're going to come all the way back to center and bring ourselves into a comfortable seated position. Ooh, she says, rearrange clothing as needed. So today I'm going to use a little folded blanket to give my hips just a touch of lift. Oh, there we are. And if you're not comfortable sitting cross-legged, you can always have your feet apart, but your knees bent. This will work almost as well. If it helps, you can turn the soles of your feet towards each other, so you don't have to have your knees bent in at all. Super duper. So we're going to start here just by taking a moment to feel our way into this new position. So lengthening through the back of the body, perhaps finding that space underneath the rib cage. Maybe you feel a little bit freer across the chest or underneath the chin or across the shoulders. Take a moment to soften the features of your face. Swallow to relax your jaw. And then when you're ready, we're gently going to lean to the left first. So we're going to take the left hand out to the left side, yes, that's right, and reach the right hand up and begin with very wiggly finger wrist rotations. So imagine you're a dancer in Azerbaijan, a flamenco dancer or something similar, very expressive wrist and fingers. And we'll go in the opposite direction as well. And at the same time, you've got a little support from your left hand there. So we're not completely collapsed to the left side, but we're able to make use of that expansive stretch underneath the right arm. In the center, you can wrap your thumb into your palm and wrap your fingers over your thumb, and then make circles with your closed fist as well. If you prefer to have your thumb on top of your fingers, you can do that. This is a particular mudra that we use in yoga. And these are great if you've been typing a lot during the day, spending a lot of time with the keyboard. And then from here, we're going to make some circles with the arms. More circles with the arms. And when you're ready, you can leave your arm over, your right arm over to the left, and maybe just see if your head feels nice and free here. So you're not holding or gripping in your neck or your jaw. And then when you're ready, you can come up to center, and we're just going to gently turn to the left as well. So reaching the left hand behind you, the right hand across to the left knee. Take a moment here to sit really tall, and then again, just examining the neck, maybe making a few movements up and down or side to side. See if you can organize the head to be comfortable turned to the left as well. But if it isn't, then don't force it. Take a deep breath in and a long breath out. Let's return the head to center, unwind the spine, and come a little bit back to the center. Fantastic. Do the same thing on the other side. So leaning over to the right, reaching the left arm up. So we've got that sense of length out of the left hip, and then making those very expressive wrist movements and finger movements. Rolling, rolling, rolling. and in the opposite direction as well. And then when you're ready, you can fold your thumb into your palm and the fingers around and make those same really expressive wrist movements, but with your closed fist. And I find that this one is one that really gets into the places that it needs to go. Opposite way as well. You can just hear it click, click, clicking. It's really good for wrists that are tired from yoga as well as keyboard wrists. And then when you're ready, you can begin to make some nice big circles with your arm. Oh, I'm going to have to make a slightly smaller circle because the clicking is so bad. And in the opposite direction as well. And when you're ready, you can reach your left arm all the way over, just taking an extra long length and then gently returning back to center. We're going to turn to the right, reaching the right hand behind us, sitting really tall. And take a moment just to sort of soften the shoulders, give it a little bit of a wiggle with the head if you need to. And then see if your head will organize itself all the way around to the right. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't. It's just an exploration. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then return to center with your head. Unwind your spine a little. And just taking a moment here. Aces. So we're going to do the twist on the other side as well. So we're going to release the feet and just let them be long for a moment and wiggle them to massage the knees and do anything else we need to. And then we can fold them the opposite way around. And we're just going to do a simple side bend and twist, so without our rolling arms. So reaching to the left, reaching the right arm over, just lengthening. Feeling that you're free in the neck as you do by turning the head from side to side, coming up to center, and then twisting to the left, reaching the the left arm behind you. Again, making space for the head with the shoulders down, seeing how far you can turn into the twist with the head without strain, without striving. And returning to center. Going to the right, reaching the right arm to the right, reaching the left arm over. Just taking a moment to lengthen into that stretch, making sure the head is nice and free, there's no tension in the neck. Coming back up and then twisting to the right. Reaching the right hand behind you, making any sort of adjustments you need to your neck and shoulders, and turning your head towards the right as much as feels comfortable. Notice how different it feels when you turn out, when you turn in, and then releasing, letting go. Excellent stuff. Okay, so we're going to do a little Gomukhasana while we're here. So that's cow's face pose, and we're only doing the arms. So take your right hand and take your left hand and slide the back of the hand up to the space between the shoulder blades if you can. And what we're going to do is, I'll do this a little bit side on for you. So this is my really stiff arm, and I've got an old injury. It just doesn't work quite the way the other one does. So we're going to make big lasso motions with our right arm. And when you've gone a couple of times in each direction, you can bring your right hand to the back of your head. Catch hold of the back of your head so that your thumb and forefinger are either side of your neck and the palm cups the back of the head. And you can just release the back of the head into the hand. And take a couple of deep breaths here. Now, if you can, from here, slide your two hands towards each other and the fingers meet, then you can let go of the back of the head. But if you can't, like I can't on this side, then you hold on to the back of your head. And then here we're just going to circle the upper body. So imagining we're drawing a circle on the ceiling. We're going 3 times in one direction. And then we'll reverse to the opposite direction. And all the time, if you don't have the hands connected, you can support your head with your hand. Coming back to center, and we're just going to lean forward as well. So folding a little bit forward. You don't have to hold very, very low down. We're not trying to get anywhere in particular. So you can just be wherever is good for you. For a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then we're coming all the way up, relaxing the top arm first and then sliding the bottom arm down the back and around to the front so that we don't nobble anything. And coming back to center. Excellent stuff. Wriggling anything that needs wriggling. Now, if you want to, you can cross your legs the opposite way for the other side. It doesn't really matter so much that we need to be pedantic about it, but you can. So this side, we're going to slide the back of the right hand up between the shoulder blades if we can get it there, and then make a few lassoing motions with our left arm in both directions. And when you're ready, you can cup the back of your head with your left hand. And here, let's do a little massage. So using the thumb and the forefinger, just massaging the top of the neck there. See if you can get into any bits that need getting into. Fabulous stuff. Relax the head into the hand there once you've finished your massage. And if you can connect the two hands, as I can on this side, then that's great. Do that. And if you can't, keep holding onto your head. No problem at all. And then here, we're making our little swaying circles. We'll do 3 in this direction. And 3 in the opposite direction. Very good. And just checking your head is free to move. Folding a little bit forward. It doesn't need to be very far forward. Just a little bit forward. And then when you're ready, coming up, releasing the top hand up and down, sliding the bottom hand down the back and around the hip to release. Nice. Okay, so we're going to use a block or possibly a bolster for a little forward bending here in this position. So if you don't want to do this with your legs crossed, you can do this with your feet, knees bent, your feet out to the side and fold forward between your legs, no problem at all. Just make sure you remember which foot is crossed in front. And I've got a handy block here in case I need it. So I'm going to fold forward over my legs to support myself with my hands and do a little snaking with the upper body. So a little shimmer from side to side. And it might be that in the course of doing that, I find a bit more space so I can come a little bit lower. And it doesn't matter if you don't, and it doesn't matter if you stay up here, because it's all about how it feels. But in the course of your snaking, if you feel that you can just create enough space to lengthen yourself forward, you may rest with your forearms on the floor and your head on a support of some kind. Or if your head goes all the way to the floor, aces, doesn't have to. And it doesn't matter if you're really far away from the floor and you still have your hands up here, that's all fine too. Take a deep breath in wherever you are. And a deep breath out. And then we're just going to pad the hands back towards the body. And then here, just putting the block to one side, we're going to lean back and take the feet apart and sway the knees from one side to the other. Nice. And then we're going to fold the legs again. I'm hoping that's that's better. The opposite way round. And then fold ourselves forward again for that snaking action. And you can keep your hands a little bit wider if you want to. And if it helps, you can bob up and down across the thighs rather than in the center, if that doesn't feel quite so useful for you. And hopefully after a little bit of investigating, moving gently, easing, opening, creating space. You might find yourself folded very much farther forward, and it might be that you have some support underneath your head in whichever shape or form. Or you might have your head away from the floor. That's no problem at all. Wherever you are, take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Make sure your jaw's relaxed, your face is relaxed. And then patting your hands back towards you. And I'm just going to put this block to one side. We're going to lean back slightly, take the feet apart, and just gently sway the knees from side to side. Oh, nice. And it can be a really small sway to begin with. And then we can build up to being a little bit more of a twist. And if your wrists don't like propping you up like this, you can do this lying down on your back as well, which we do quite often. It's just a different variation today. And then just resting your knees down to one side, just taking a deep breath, and then swaying your knees up to the center and down to the opposite side, taking a deep breath. Aces. Then coming back to center, we're going to cross the right leg over the left leg at the ankle and the knee, or the ankle and the thigh. And here, again, just gently swaying from one side to the other. Now you can start with your left foot quite far away from you, which will make this much less intense. So the closer your left foot gets to your buttocks, the more intense it is. Okay, so just start where it's nice and easy and nurturing. And see if you can really allow your whole body to go with it. So you rock all the way from one side to the other. So you can lift buttocks from the floor to do this. Feel that massage across the gluteus muscles into the knobbly bits in the bottom and the side of the body. And if you want to, you can leave your legs down on one side just for a deep breath. And then you can have your legs down on the other side for a deep breath. And when you come back to the center, try bringing your left foot towards you and your hands towards you. Open your chest and flex your right foot and see if that just maybe gets to the places that other poses haven't yet reached. And gently releasing. We're going to put our feet side by side for a moment of swaying. And then we can do the whole thing to the other side. If you need to, I find it's useful to take the weight off the wrists for a few moments. So just rolling the wrists or giving them a massage is quite nice. Fantastic. Okay, we'll do the opposite side. So we're going to cross the left leg over the right thigh so that the ankle is on the leg, and you can have your right foot quite far away from you to begin with, just rocking from side to side. And then move your foot in if you need to get a little bit deeper, if it's not useful for you until you do. And then we can begin to roll a little bit further. And I really like this. Mostly because I've done an awful lot of lunging in the last few days and my buttocks enjoy it. So you come down to one side and just take a deep breath. And then coming to the opposite side, taking a deep breath. And when you're ready, you can come back to center, inch your right foot in towards you and your hands in towards you as well, and then lift your chest. Draw the shoulder blades together or towards each other to open that chest, and flex your left foot for a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Aces. And then uncrossing your legs. So take a moment to shake out the wrists if they need it. And so we're going to do for our wind down, our cool down, we're going to do some yin postures. And our first one is going to be a supported bridge pose. So you can do this over a bolster. It's a little bit high for what we want to achieve today, or a folded blanket. But if you've got a yoga brick, then one of these is perfect as well. So in your own time, coming down onto your back, and we'll just spend a moment allowing our spine to find this new shape against the floor, and maybe just rolling the head from one side to the other. Very good. Then when you're ready, you can gently press into the heels of the feet, the soles of the feet, to lift the buttocks enough to get that block underneath the back of the pelvis. So really supporting the back of the sacrum and the back of the hip bones, rather than too low into the buttocks or too high into that soft space above the hips in the low back. And then here, just walk your feet a little bit away from you. So just a little bit to open up that space in the pelvis. And if you want to, you can just relax your arms out to the side. And for some people, this might be enough. This might be enough of an opening. You might feel that you're able to release here, that you're able to let go, really soften. And if you'd like a little bit more, you can slide your legs to be longer, and you might need to do one at a time. So sliding the right leg first. And if that feels great, then do this for a while. And then sliding your left leg long. And if you feel not stable enough to hold this with both legs extended, just do one side at a time. And if this feels good, then you might reach your hands over your head and then soften the elbows enough to put the elbows down on the floor, the backs of the hands nice and relaxed. So my feet here are wider than my mat, toes turning outwards. And then closing your eyes. We're going to do about 5 or 6 really long, slow, deep breaths here. So if you're doing alternate sides, take time to swap after about 3 deep breaths. Try to soften the features of your face. Relax your jaw. Relax your abdominal muscles, your buttocks, your legs. Relaxing the space at the back of the neck, back of the shoulders, the arms and fingers. And for anyone who is just loving this, they can stay here. And for anyone who would like to do something a little bit extra, sliding your arms back down to your sides and sliding in your left leg and then your right leg. So here, we're going to draw one knee in and extend the opposite leg away. So we're going to draw first the left leg into the chest, and you can hold it towards you or not, but I find it's easier and more stable if I hold onto my knee. And then lengthen your right heel along the mat until the right leg is nice and straight, but the toes are pointing up towards the ceiling there. And here, just easing your left knee into your chest enough to lift your right leg off the floor, and it's just floating just above the floor. Now, if this feels good, you might gently sway your leg from side to side. That's your right leg from side to side. And if that feels not so good, but you'd like to still explore that, you can tap your heel, the right heel out to the right side, and then the right heel across the body towards the left. And just do that a couple of times. And if swaying feels good to you, then sway. And then when you're ready, you can slide your right heel in. And then with your left leg, just make gentle, small circles with your knee in both directions. Just massaging that hip joint. And then release your left leg down. Bend your right knee into your chest, hug it towards you. Slide your left heel away. And then the heel is down on the floor at the moment with the toes pointed up. All we're going to do is draw the right knee a little bit more towards us to lever the left heel off the floor. So it's floating off the floor, and if you want to, you can just be still, and if you prefer, you can sway from side to side. I find it's not as useful on this side for me, but maybe for you it is. And if swaying isn't so useful, you can tap your heel over to the right side, out to the left, not too far, and backwards and forwards a couple of times. If you've got a sacroiliac joint that doesn't enjoy life, then this can be a really nice release. And then when you're ready, you can slide the left foot in, make small circles with the right knee, and in both directions. And then float your right foot to the floor. And we'll just very gently lift the hips and release the hips, release the blocks so we can release the hips down to the floor. Brilliant. So we're going to do another yin pose as well. So rolling to one side to come up to sitting. And if you've got a bolster, you can use a bolster for this one. So if you've got a bolster, I want you to prop up the end of it that will be underneath your head. And you sit at the end of your bolster and recline over it. So your head is a little bit higher than your chest, arms out to the side. For now, feet on the floor, knees up. And if you don't have a bolster, you can use a rolled blanket, and you can do a very similar thing where you have it along the length of your spine and possibly something just a little bit higher underneath your head. And it has a very similar effect. In fact, it's maybe a little bit better in some ways because it's not quite so high. And then if you've got blocks, or if you prefer a little bit more of a massage effect between the shoulder blades, then you can use blocks. And today we're going to set up the block behind the shoulder blades sideways on. So normally we've done it long ways on, along the length of the spine, but today sideways on. And the block that goes underneath your head is turned to a higher setting. So long side on the mat for the block underneath the shoulder blades, and a short side on the mat for the block underneath the head. So if you're using blocks, just bringing your elbows down either side of the block that goes underneath your shoulder blades. And then as you recline, you can move the block that comes underneath your head into place. And so there's that sense of support and lift underneath the shoulder blades. We really don't want to be much lower down than the shoulder blades, the bottom of the shoulder blades. And the arms can release out to the side. So whichever of the supports you're using, hopefully you've had time to build it by now, and your head is relaxing on something, so the back of the neck can let go of any effort, and the throat can let go of any effort as well. Arms releasing out to the sides, and here you can keep your knees bent, but if you want to, take your feet wide and lean your knees together, and that just releases any effort from the inner thighs as well. Or you can bring the soles of your feet together and take your knees out to the side in Utkatasana, which is nice, particularly if you have openness in the hips. Or you can simply extend the legs. So whichever one of these suits you the best. And again, we're just allowing the sides of the body to fall open towards the floor. Allowing the weight of the head to be supported. Allowing that lift to come under the body to open the chest. So if you get a tightness across your jaw, your throat, your shoulders, your chest, the fascial line here joins from the base of the tongue all the way down underneath the pectoral muscles, right into the pelvis. And here we're just opening it, just as we did in our supported bridge pose before this one. So softening the features of your face, relaxing the tongue, the jaw. Let all the effort go from your arms and your legs, your shoulders and your hips. And take a few long, deep breaths. And after your next exhalation, bending the knees unless you've already got them bent and placing the feet on the floor. And then just gently rolling to one side. We're trying to release ourselves from blocks or bolsters or blankets so that we can roll back onto our backs. Allow our neck and spine to become into that more neutral position. And from here, preparing for relaxation. So if you want to, you can, of course, roll to one side and sit up and put on your jumpers and your socks and your blankets. If you've had a bolster or a cushion or something underneath the back of your body, you might want it underneath your knees for relaxation. You might want your blanket as well. And it's cold tonight in the yoga room, so I'm getting cozy as well. But you guys are going to be relaxing while I'm playing a singing bowl for you. So just bringing yourselves into the relaxation posture of your choice. You might want to have, if you want to sit or recline in a different way, for relaxation, always feel that you are able to do that. Okay. So I can see a few people still just bringing themselves into a comfortable position. And so as you bring yourself to your posture of choice, settling the body, relaxing towards the floor as much as you feel able to. Then we'll take a deep breath in and sigh out through the mouth. And repeat that a few times. As you exhale in that sigh, feel a softness, a letting go across the chest, the throat, front of the body. Where we've been opening, feel any effort, let go from there. Sigh out and let your muscles relax. And then take one more deep breath. And as you exhale, surrender your weight down into your mat. Allow your breath to fall into quietness. Gently sway your nose from side to side. And then when your head comes back to center, soften the features of your face. Feel your forehead spreading, particularly the area between the eyebrows. The area around the eyes relaxing, the mouth, the tongue, and jaw releasing. Take your awareness into the back of your body. Let the back of the body feel heavy, warm, supported, and releasing down. Move awareness to the front of your body, becoming aware of the space over you and around you. Feel the touch of air on your face, the movement of your clothes on your skin as you breathe. The weight and the warmth of the blanket if you've got one. The sensation of holding space in the palms of the hands. Gently draw your awareness to your breath and allow your breath to find its own natural, deep rhythm. Soft and gentle as it moves in and out without strain, without tension. Allow your breath to find that real softness, quietness, almost silent. Bring your awareness to your sense of hearing, your sense of sound. And become aware of the sounds that you can hear around you. Perhaps sounds inside your room, ticking of a clock, crackle of a fire, movement of the heating. Perhaps sounds outside your room of traffic, of people, of wildlife. Simply identify the sounds you can hear and then draw your awareness away from them, leave them behind, and draw your sense of hearing to yourself. Become aware of the sounds that you are making. The sound of your breath. The sound of your heart beating. The sound of your digestive system. Draw your awareness deeper within you. Try to find that place of peace and stillness and quietness within you. And here you can listen for nada, the inner sound. When you hear the sound of the bowl, allow it to come from this place. Feel the vibration of the sound of the bowl moving through you as it heals and restores and resonates through your whole body and mind. Observe the sound that you can hear, the sounds within that sound, and allow your awareness to follow it to the silence in between. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness back into your hands and your feet by wiggling your fingers and toes. When you feel ready, you might roll the wrists and the ankles. And then taking a deep breath in, maybe stretch the arms and the legs or the back. Maybe the face of your arm. In your own time, gather your knees into your chest and make any movements that feel good. Circles or rocking from side to side. Maybe even turning the head gently from side to side. In your own time, roll to one side and just spend a moment allowing yourself to come around a little at a time, keeping your eyes gently closed. When you're ready, make your way to any comfortable seated position. And draw one hand over the heart, the other hand on top. And just spend this moment to give yourself thanks for taking this time and making this space to nurture your body and your mind with yoga. And also to give thanks perhaps to the other people in your life who make this time and space possible. Or perhaps to the technology for making it possible for us all to get together in this way. Whatever you have to feel thankful for, doing that now. And then when you're ready, you can just gently open your eyes. Namaste, guys. Thank you for joining me for this practice. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you have a very restful sleep tonight, and I'll see you again soon. Namaste.